I'm here at the White House with Jack Lew, the president's budget director, as you said. Thanks for the time, as always. Appreciate it. Let me start on the Supercommittee, the failure of the Supercommittee. There is a Republican argument being made right now that one reason it failed, the president wasn't engaged enough, didn't give the green light to Democrats to really negotiate.
I think the record speaks for itself. You know, the facts are, over the summer, the president went through day-by-day, hour-by-hour negotiations. Everyone knew where he was willing to go to have a big deal. The Supercommittee convened. He sent a 70-page document with line-by-line detail. In fact, the Democrats on the Supercommittee were willing to put hard things on the table, entitlement cuts, things that are really hard for Democrats. The problem was that they hit a brick wall, that Republicans were just not willing to raise the taxes of the top 2% of Americans, so the burden of deficit reduction could be shared broadly. I think that is the simple fact of what happened at the Supercommittee. It happened in June and July and August. It happened again in November. I think when Congress comes back from the Thanksgiving break, the question is, will they get to work and extend the payroll tax break so that working Americans don't have their taxes go up on January 1st? That's very important as well.
Well, we'll get to the payroll tax in just a second, but back to the Supercommittee. They did, Republicans say they did put revenue on the table. They put $300 billion, according to the Toomey plan. If I recall correctly, Speaker Boehner put as much as $800 billion on the table during the grand bargain discussions here at the White House. In hindsight, should the president have accepted that deal?
Well, you know, we could go back and revisit what happened in July and August. I think in each of these cases, the question was, what was the willingness on taxes and what was the willingness on spending cuts, that in particular Medicare and Medicaid. The president made clear to the Speaker that for a large piece of revenues that really repealed the tax cut for the top 2%, there was a willingness to do more, but there had to be balance. If it was smaller, then obviously you'd have to do things in a balanced way. I think the Supercommittee Democrats were in the similar position. As I understand where the Republican offer was, it was roughly a third of what Speaker Boehner was talking about in the summer, but for all the entitlement cuts, wanting to cut Social Security, wanting to cut Medicare. That's just not fair. I don't think the American people think that it's fair. If you look at what's happened in the last few months, the president has gone out to the country. Democrats and Republicans alike are answering the question the same way. This needs to be fair. It needs to be balanced. It's not that there's anything wrong with people being successful, but it is wrong if you do deficit reduction on the backs of the middle class and poor people and say that the most wealthy are going to be protected. The Toomey plan still did that. It actually lowered the tax rate for the wealthiest Americans.
What about the reality from here? The automatic cuts that kick in, $1.2 trillion over 10 years. Your own defense secretary said that the defense cuts alone will tear a seam in the nation's defense. The president's already promised to veto anything that rolls those cuts back. Is that really the wisest thing to do for the commander-in-chief to make that, given the warning from Leon Panetta?
Let's just be clear. The president and Secretary Panetta are in exactly the same place. Both of them have said that Congress should act in a balanced way and that those automatic cuts should not take effect. Both have said there should be no easy off-ramp, that we can't take the automatic cuts away because the worst thing for the economy would be to send the signal that we're not doing anything on deficit reduction. The former chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff said that the deficit was our biggest national security problem. So I think that the president and the secretary are in the same place. The problem is that when faced with a choice of automatic spending cuts that would mean deep cuts in our defense or raising taxes on the wealthiest Americans, the Republicans on the Supercommittee, following the wishes of what I think are a minority but powerful minority in the Congress, said, no, we won't do that.
All right, Jack, we got to leave it there. Jack Lew, the OMB director here at the White House.